Hello everybody. Today we are going to be going over just everything we've learned about solving systems of equations. So let's just jump into it. So I like how it says assignment. It shows I spent a long time making sure this was good before I printed it out. Whoops. Okay. Solve each system by graphing. Okay. So I got y equals 1/4 x plus 2, and I got y equals 1/4 x minus 9. So with these, I'm supposed to find out where they touch, where they intersect. So if I go and I try to graph this one, well, remember we start with the number that's not touching x. That's called our b. So we'll start with this. And if this feels like it's brand new news to you, that should be a wake-up call. We've done these almost the entire year. They've been in every unit we've done. So if you still don't know how to do it, I think it just means that you're not working hard enough and you haven't practiced enough. So we start there. And then we see 1/4 x. So that 1/4, that's our rise over run. So I rise 1 and I run 4. And I rise 1 and I run 4. And if you need more help doing these, I'd be happy to spend some more time working with you. I can print out a billion of these. We can do practice. They're easy. Anybody can do these. And if you're like, they're not easy for me, it's okay. It'll become easy once you do enough practice. So, I did it without talking about it. So I rose 1, I ran 4, and then from the new point I can rise 1 and run 4. And you can also reverse this and go backwards 4, down 1, backwards 4, down 1. Kind of reverse. Instead of up over, we can go back down. So back down, back down, back down. Then our next one says 1/4 x minus 9. So if I go there, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, put a dot. We start at the -9. We rise 1 and we run 4. And those of you that are astute observers will already have noticed that as we rise 1 and we run 4 with this one, no intersection is in sight. And if you think about it, these are always both rising 1 and running 4, rise 1, run 4, rise 1. They're always doing the same thing. They're never going to touch. This has no solution. But then if we look at this one, we'll see this one's rising 3 and running 4. Oh, but it's a negative, so it's falling 3 and running 4. This one's rising 5 and running 4. These two are not on the exact same trajectory the whole way, so they're definitely going to touch each other at some point. So let's see. This one starts us at 6, so we'll go up to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then it says 3 over 4, but it's a negative. So instead of going up 3 over 4, I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. And to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how when I'm doing these and I'm thinking about these, I'm always going to the right. So positive goes up, negative goes down, but it's always going to the right. And again, I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. 1, 2, 3. So I went down 3 and over 4, so I can always go backwards 4 and up 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Just reverse. And graph my first line. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody by saying this should be pretty easy. Like, you might make a mistake here or there, but the process should be pretty simple. We've been doing it all year. You've done it before in previous years. You've seen this before. If it's not working for you, think about what you're doing that's making it so that you can't do it. Don't blame somebody else. Think, okay, what am I doing? Why am I not getting this yet? And it's no fair to say my teachers are bad, because you guys don't stay after school with me and ask for help on this. Every now and then people stay after school, but it's not that. When we're learning and we feel like we aren't getting something yet, we need to figure out, okay, how do I learn this? Not who do I blame? All right, enough lecturing. Okay, so we got 5/4x minus 2. Let's see, we go minus 2, put a dot, and then we rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We run 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can even see it on the graph, plain as day. I don't even need to draw this over here, but I'm going to just because I like to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. I just don't want it to look incomplete. We can see they're intersecting right here. And so our x coordinate here is 1, 2, 3. It's 4 over and then 1, 2, 3 up. So our solution point is 4, 3. So that's solving by graphing. Now we get to these ones and they say solve using substitution. So I just want to remind you, when we're solving by substitution, that's where, oh look, x and y, they're not lined up over each other. The equal signs aren't lined up. Not everything's lined up. Instead, we see y is equal to junk. And we're going to be able to do a substitution. So I am only going to do one of these. All three of these follow the same pattern. The idea is that a letter is solved for, and in this case it's y, so I can go in and I can say, oh, well, I know that 8x plus 4y is equal to 4, but instead of writing y, it says y is allowed to be written as this chunk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 8x plus 4, and instead of writing y equals 4, instead of writing y, we're going to write this negative 3x plus 5. I'm going to write all that junk in there. And now we use algebra steps and we solve this. So in algebra, we know that we distribute when there's a number out front of a parentheses and it says plus 4. So we'll distribute a positive 4 to both of those, and we'll get 8x, and then 4 times negative 3. Remember, go to your calculator if you need to. I don't have mine with me right now. And then 4 times 5, they're both positive. We get a positive 20. You're allowed to use your calculator to do those basic operations because we care more about the overall what's going on here. And I know some of you prefer to solve these in your head, but ladies and gentlemen, this is a little bit trickier to solve in your head. So now 8 minus 12, I get negative 4. So negative 4x plus 20. Remember, I'm combining like terms. So first we distributed. Then we combined like terms. And now I proceed to try to get x by itself. So I see negative 4x plus 20. Well, I gotta get rid of the plus 20. Remember, we get rid of the thing that touches x, we get rid of that last. We get rid of the other stuff first. So I'm gonna get rid of the plus 20 first. And I get negative 4x is equal to negative 16, because 4 minus 20 is negative 16. I'll divide both sides by negative 4, divide both sides by negative 4, and we get x is equal to negative 16 divided by negative 4. I get 4. So remember, our solutions for these are always, well, sometimes they're no solution, and sometimes they're infinite solutions, but as long as they're only touching once, our solution is an x comma y point. And so I need to write my answer to this as an x comma y point. So I'll write my x coordinate first, and the x coordinate is 4, and I'll write my y coordinate second, and my y coordinate is, oh wait, I don't know my y coordinate. So I'm gonna have to go back in, and now I have a little bit more space. Since I'm not going to actually do this question right now, I can say y needs to be equal to negative 3x plus 5. And I know that x is equal to 4. So I can literally take x and write it as 4 instead. Y is equal to negative 3 times 4 plus 5. And when I simplify this, I can use my calculator if I'm not sure. But negative 3 times 4 is negative 12, and 5. So negative 12 plus 5. I almost said negative 17. I need to be careful. We all make silly mistakes here. I got negative 7. And so y then is negative 7. And so that's going to be my solution. And it might be a little bit hard to see on the screen. I can't tell because I can only see it through my phone's screen. But I like using multiple colors sometimes on these things. It helps me. So if you want to use multiple colors, you can too. There's an ant. Hi, ant. This is an animal cruelty-free stream. All right. So now let's look at the ones on the back. Okay. So I'm going to look at number 8. And number 8 says 5x minus 5y equals 30, and 7x plus 2y equals 24. So with these, a lot of times we said since they do all line up, we were going to say, oh, well, we can add them together. So 5 plus 7 is 12. Negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. Oh, neither of those canceled. That's a problem. So remember, when it doesn't cancel, the trick that we use is I'll multiply the top, all three numbers, by that bottom first number. So 7 times 7 times 7. And the bottom will multiply by the top number, 5, 5, 5. The reason this works is we are trying to make something cancel, and taking these two numbers multiplied by each other, we'll get the same number. And so we make them equal to each other so that we can cancel them. So on the top, when I multiply them all by 7, I'll get 35x minus 35y equals, now 7 times 30 is 210, 210. And the way I did that in my head. I did, well, I know 7 times 3 is 21, and it's just times 10 after that, because 30 is just 3 times 10. So I got 21, and then I put a 0 on it, because that's what happens when you multiply by 10. So let's look at our next one. We do multiply all these by 5. So 5 times 7 is 35. That's good. Those are matching. That's great. Then let's see. I'm having a hard time reading. Is that a plus? Yeah. So plus 5 times 2. So we have 5 times 2, which is 10. So plus, I almost wrote 5. Plus 10y. So I don't know if you notice, my brain just broke when I was trying to write that. We all do that, okay? So don't feel bad about yourself if you're like, oh, I meant to write 10 and I wrote 5 again. Oh, wow, I'm putting myself to sleep. I'm so exciting. Come on. Ah. All right. 5 times 24. This is a little bit harder for me to do in my head, but I know that 5 times 20 is 100. And I know that 5 times 4 is 20. So I add those and I get 120. And if you're not following, don't worry about it. You have access to your calculators. You can always use those for basic arithmetic. And so now that we have these, the thing is still, if we add them together, it's no good. It doesn't work. Ooh, earthquake. No, apparently we had one down in Dover earlier this week. But, no, I just hit the camera, sorry. So 35 plus 35 does not cancel. However, 35 minus 35 does. And so all we have to do is tell ourselves, well, I'm just going to subtract every single one then. And just be careful when you're using your calculator. 35 minus 35 is 0, so it cancels. This says negative 35 minus positive 10. So we would do negative 35 minus 10, which is negative 45. Y. And this is 210 minus 120, which is 90. And so now when I divide both sides by the number on the y, negative 45, negative 45. Sorry, I jumped that a little bit. What we need to do is, this says negative 45y equals 90, and so our goal is to get y by itself now. And again, some of you like to think about this and just figure out what the number is. And if you can do that, that's great. You're right. I would encourage you to learn this solving method, because we're going to run into situations where guessing the number is going to be almost impossible. It's going to be very difficult to do. So I got y is equal to negative 2. Oh, interesting. So this time, instead of ending up with the x value first, we ended up with the y value first. So I just need to be careful that goes in that slot. And then when I plug this back in to check, or to find the other answer, I'll take my 5x minus 5y equals 30. You could have taken either one of the original problems, and I'll plug in negative 2 where y was. So 5x minus 5 times negative 2 is equal to 30. You should see some familiarity here. The only difference between this and what we did on the front page was, on the front page we had a different way that we found our first letter. On this one, we found our first letter. But, excuse me. Now we're going back and plugging it in just like we plugged in on the front page. So I'm going to plug in the negative 2 where y was. And let's see, that's going to be 5x. And then it says minus 5 times minus 2, which is positive 10. And that's equal to 30. So now we'll subtract 10 from both sides, and we get 5x is equal to 20, and then we'll divide by 5, and we'll get x is equal to 4. So I got 4 comma negative 2 for the last one. So hope this was helpful. Feel free to ask me more questions in class next time. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Bye.